Well, the primaries, I guess, are happening. Pennsylvania, Trump has been pretty good at picking winners and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Here's some stuff about it.
And Tammy Bruce, Fox News contributor and former Democrat, to react to Tuesday's primaries and the
Former
Trump endorsements.
Democrat.
70 of
Once
the people
Democrat.
he endorsed have won so far. What's your reaction?
You know, and that number will change a little bit, but this has been fascinating. The talent bench for the Republicans, like in Pennsylvania, support Trump. They are people who are working to appeal to the American First framework. So you've got the great problem for Republicans, and if you're a Trump supporter, which is the majority, of, all right, so which one do we pick, right? And as we were discussing actually a little earlier, is that's in part where the Trump endorsement can come. Like, what would tip you over to where you would go to someone? But ultimately, I think the Republicans have a very clear idea. The American people have a very clear idea about what needs to change in this country. And it clearly, even if you didn't like Donald Trump at first, we've seen the dramatic difference in the kinds of choices that are made when it comes to individuals like a Donald Trump and people who support him versus the impact of policies, as Fox and Friends has talked about all morning, on the American people. So that's, I think, for the American people what the difference is. But remember, these are local races for the most part. I know they're for federal offices, but the fact is this is about get out the vote efforts. If you've ever been operating for a local election before, if the machines there are working with you as well, so that can make a difference. But ultimately, Trump's score has been remarkable. It's been shocking. As you've noted, it'll go up and down. I think right now it's like 70-3 or 68-4, whatever it is. You're going to see headlines that say, "Oh,
Virginia
if
Fox.
Oz loses or the Cawthorn loses, Trump's not strong." That is gaslighting. It is, of course, not the truth.
Smucker.
And do not underestimate. The mistake has always been to underestimate Donald Trump, to underestimate his supporters. That you would have thought the establishment would have learned to not do that. And so I think we're going to see more, obviously, with Georgia coming up. Those are important races to all of us, including the president. We'll have to see what happens.
What do you think will happen there in the governor's race?
Is there a Red Bull over there on the refrigerator?
Can we go your own?
I really hate to say
I know,
that.
you hate it. It's terrible.
It's like such an impolite thing. But now we're all, as we look at what's her name, Corinne Jean-Pierre.
That idiot.
What's the matter? You don't think she's doing a good job? She's really she's very bad at it. There's not one in there. There is not one. Oh well, looks like I'm out of luck. I'll have to sit here and be thirsty. Sorry about that. Man, I was sure there was another one in there. Well, I'm very sorry, Ian.
Well, the numbers right now.
Well, so far, this is what they're saying. You know, these are local races, and they are local races because obviously they're not national races. So, like, and nobody knows what the hell's going on with them unless they live in the town. And even if they do, they probably don't. Democrats always dominate local stuff for some reason. Is it just because that stuff's easier to steal, or is it just easier? I mean, like, are they just the type of voters who come out?
I think with Democrats, they have, and especially in New Jersey, they've had a better GOTV program for decades now.
What's GOTV?
Get Out the Vote. So Get Out the Vote program is usually the weekend before the election and the day before the Tuesday of the election, or like several days outside from the election. You really all in push, full court press sort of thing. You get as many volunteers as you can doing the phone banks. You're driving old people to the polls. And Democrats seem to just have like this really well-oiled GOTV machine.
Well, they really do, because even if they can't get people to leave their homes, they can at least get them to give them their ballots so they can fake mail them in.
Yeah.
They will find any way that they can to GOTV.
Yeah, nursing home balloting.
Dead people balloting, people double balloting, voting using, like they did in California, Republicans' votes. You know, Republicans would show up to vote, and they'd be like, "You already voted. Sorry. Yeah, you voted for all Democrats this time for some reason."
Look at you being weird, changing your whole position.
Like, okay, well, here's what we'll do. This will get worked out. Just here's what I learned this from Dinesh D'Souza's podcast. So according to him, that's what they do. Is I think that was who it was. But yeah, they they take that vote, right,
Yeah.
that you just made in person. They go, okay, well, you can fill that out, and then we'll have your mail-in ballot. We're going to compare the signatures and see which one more closely matches
Oh, yeah.
your ID. Yeah, they're not going to do that.
No.
No, they're going to throw away the vote you just made because that's the way you wanted it to go.
Yeah, the vote doesn't count now.
Can you believe that? And that's why that's how come we didn't get rid of Gavin Newsom in California. Because when they did the recall, that's how they handled it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see here. Let's see this ballot. Yep, that's definitely Clark. You voted Democrat, even though Clark's a Republican.
Your mail-in came in.
Yeah.
It's like, mail-in voting has got to stop.
It's just ridiculous.
It's a disaster, as Trump says.
It should be just for people who literally can't walk. If you can't walk, then maybe we'll
Fuck
let
you.
vote
You don't get to
mail
vote.
it in.
No mailing.
No mailing.
There's nobody like that. There is almost no one like that. I say it's a negligible amount of the vote. We appreciate your civic, desire, but we're not going to let you vote.
Well, there's a huge difference between mail-in voting and absentee ballots. What the military gets,
Sure.
is you have to request the absentee ballot,
And
then they send it to you. Mail-in ballot is just you went to buy the DMV records, and everyone just gets one now.
just mail them to everybody.
Fucking your dog.
And everybody knows that the ballots, that the voter rolls are just way inflated and wrong. And
Yes.
And yet, I bet it doesn't stop anybody from voting either. You know what I mean? Like, I bet it
No.
doesn't stop any illegal aliens from voting.
Oh,
It's
sure.
like, oh, were you mailed a ballot to your name in your house? Because no. But how did you register to vote without being a citizen? You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to get into all that.
No, why would they do that? That
So
would
it's just like we'll mark one up for you.
that would screw up their whole game plan of trying to steal elections.
It's plain talk is really what's needed. They're election thieves.
Yeah.
They orchestrate any way they can to steal elections. It's just a fact. I mean, you've seen it over. We saw it with. I think it happened a lot with Gavin Newsom and all that stuff.
Sure.
And then it happens. I mean, at the national level, I saw 2,000 Mules, and I already knew that they had stolen the election in some way. And as
Right.
far as I'm concerned, even when they talked about fortifying the election, that was as good as stealing it.
You just admitted it.
We
Yeah.
fortified it. Whoa, how so? Well, we just got all the people with all the big money to, spend a lot of money and
They pulled
Get
the
out the
levers
votes.
of power.
yeah, we got out the vote in specific areas and just pinpointed it and we fortified it. Fortified is the most insulting word. Fortified.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
They really just spit in our face and were like, "You're going to take it."
for Mr. Perdue are not great.
He's losing by 32 points.
Yeah. And yet, of course, we also know that polls are sometimes, skewed, especially in a state where there is such angst and such division. And we know that George
that much
Soros has
angst
put, I
and
think,
division
$1
in
million
Georgia. I don't care what
to a
anybody
Stacey
says.
Abrams PAC. There's a lot of other.
They really do just create that. That's all just created.
Yeah, media-driven nonsense.
All this hysteria, like, oh, they got rid of the All-Star game in Georgia and all that kind of shit.
Great.
That's like 9 people. A bunch of Atlantans maybe might feel that way. Not that many. Big people are pretty reasonable when it comes to. I mean, maybe they're not, but there's tons of. There's no way Georgia's a blue state. It's just not. I've been
I
to
don't
Georgia
believe it.
recently.
I don't believe it.
Walk around and talk to people. Man, it's just not that way.
You have to be outside of Atlanta, Stone Mountain area,
And I
then
get
it's
it.
all right-wing people.
All of it.
Not just there's like some maybe in the corner of Georgia there's this one gun-owning redneck that likes to vote for Stacey Abrams. Like, come on.
It's
not gonna happen.
Savannah, someplace.
Yeah.
Maybe you might have a few. you might have a little speckle of blue in there someplace, but it's just
Speckle.
primarily a very red state,
Yes.
and a little bit of blue in Savannah, and a lot of blue in Atlanta. You cannot stir that up to equal a blue state. It's
No.
just not. It's just
It's not enough. It's like Florida. You have your major metropolitan areas that are blue, but it's just not enough to outweigh the rural and suburban voters.
Yeah.
Same thing with Georgia. It's fucking bullshit.
And Stacey
Some
Abrams
bullshit.
is not a candidate anyone likes.
No one likes her. They put her on Star Trek. No one gave a shit.
I don't think. Yeah. They did, didn't they?
She was Darth Vader.
She was supposed to be the president of the world.
Yeah.
I'm the president of the world, Stacey Abrams.
Oh,
my
thank God.
That's a nightmare. Wow, Stacey Abrams, president of the world.
Good thing I don't have to renew my license.
There's nobody I'd rather have representing the world than you fat ass. She's so wrong about everything.
Everything, yeah.
And what does she write? Porn on the side? She writes a little porn on the side.
Porn poems?
She writes romance novels.
Who's reading them?
Pornographic, romantic novels. Who's reading them? I mean,
Are liberals like
interest in there to try
get
to
me that new
embarrass
Stacey Abrams book?
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Trump. That's what they've been reduced to, is to embarrass him. Now, for like Herschel Walker as an example, the endorsement in that kind of a case kept other people from running. So you didn't have this giant field. But again, the more debate
I like
there is, the
Herschel
better.
Walker. He's
the
very
more
straightforward.
ideas there are,
He's always
the
been a
better.
cool guy.
And we can see,
Look at that.
least for
President of the
American
world.
First crowd, that
is
individuals,
President
they
of the
care about
world.
what President Trump says and thinks. He clearly is the leader. He is the deliverer on the issues of policy and how to win. But they also have their favorites, the base does. And the base is going to do what they want to do. It's not a next in line. We're not repeating a next in line framework like the GOP has done. The America First base is vibrant. It's
It's what? It's diverse?
Diverse and vibrant.
If you say so.
Yes,
I mean, like, it's diverse where it needs to be diverse. And that's the way it should be. It
And
shouldn't
thought
be
and idea.
Diversity for diversity's sake is like, yeah, exactly. So long as you're America First, I don't care. Nobody does. Nobody does. Nobody on the right, no conservative cares about anybody's colors or anything like that. Their race, their nationality, any of that stuff.
As long as they voted for America.
If they're America First, they're America First. That's what the country's about. And I think it should be, definitely it's your country over your party, And they don't go.
Sure.
They love their party. They love their theology. They
They're
love
so addicted to it.
their agenda. They love everything about it. There's no way they're getting out of it. They are the most locked in agreement turds that have ever been on the planet. They're really bad.
You know what? Maybe
You know
when
who they are.
when they start arguing with conservatives, that's like them going through withdrawal. Maybe that's why they're withdrawal from drugs. Maybe that's why they freak out so much when they try to debate the right and they scream and yell because they're literally withdrawing from drugs because they're getting truth shoved at them. Their party is a drug and they can't handle it, so they freak out and scream and cry and roll around on the ground.
Well, truth is their kryptonite.
No.
And there's no defense against it if they stay in it. I mean, like, they have to start reaching for larger philosophical truths and stuff like that. Right. It's a common argumentative technique that they have to say, like, I just don't think that anyone should die for spending a $20 bill that's counterfeit. I just don't think that should be the death penalty. Yeah, me too. I guess we agree.
We guess so. Why is there war? There should be no war.
No,
everyone should eat food.
What are you talking about? Oh, right. Yeah. Air is good.
Air is great.
But seriously, they do keep it real broad. Like, we think it's just that I think maybe the president shouldn't. And of course, they set up like false things too.
You hate air.
Maybe the president shouldn't be in the Klan. Right, boy, we are really starting this on a high note, this debate. It's going to really go well. You have to disabuse them of so many things in order to even try to talk to them, and they won't even let that happen. There's just no talking to them. And my solution, it's very simple. They just need to be eliminated from the discourse, from participating in anything cultural, political, anything on the north side of the ground, really. They should be sleeping. They should be sleeping forever. And it's only, I'm trying to spell it out in as nice a way I can, but if you are a Democrat, communist individual, then you should be dead.
Well, yeah.
I'm not calling for violence. I'm just saying the world would be a better
heart
place.
Attack, COVID overdose, whatever.
Whatever it is.
I mean, in my town, I get attacked on Facebook just for agreeing with somebody. And then like 10 of these yentas come out of nowhere. They're not Jewish. I call them the yentas.
Stop calling them the yentas. They're not yentas.
They're yentas to me. It's in my vernacular.
It's a little nickname you guys have because of the way they behave. But they're not yentas.
Kvetching. No, but they just go, they gnaw at you. And they just
nip at your heels.
Nip at your heels, and there's nothing you can say to them. I mean, I'm just sarcastic, and I just let click notifications
Oh,
off.
I can say
and then-
so many things to them. I have so many fun things to say. They go away before I do online. Always.
You can just keep going.
I
What about
look. There's
10, 20 people.
there is no point they can make that I cannot just completely dunk on them with, because I have the truth on my side.
Right.
I'm always right. When it comes to this stuff, yeah, I'm talking to a Democrat or somebody like that, some social justice person. I'm right 100% of the time. That's not
Yes.
that's a really powerful place to come from.
The truth?
Having
Having the truth is the most powerful thing.
Well, reality,
Yeah.
facts,
Reality, facts.
all that kind of stuff. Truth is this kind of like people think it's this nebulous concept or something. Like the truth. Like, well, what is truth? Okay, facts, fine. Reality.
Right.
Everything is factually in alignment and exists in reality in the way that I describe. And now that's truth.
There is no truth, Pat. Now, are you sure that's truthful?
That
So
there's
it's a
no truth?
self-defeating argument. If you say there's no truth, that's a truth statement. So it's self-defeating argument. So they claim that everything's relative. There is no truth. They're making
even
truth
even
statements.
saying that there's no truth
yeah, it's
is
truth.
no truth.
Yeah.
So there's no truth in that. What does it mean? It means it doesn't mean there's no truth in it, because there is some truth to it in a way.
Right. So they're making a truth statement by saying there's no truth.
See, that's why I say don't talk about the truth.
What's wrong with you people?
Does no good.
Leave that up to the smart people.
You got stuff that's independently verifiable.